Hello. Today I have a special guest. This is Sophia. She is my 10-month-old multi-poo, and I got her about 7 months ago, and she's going to be joining me for this video. As you know, I have PTSD from sexual abuse, and so having one of my 4 dogs with me makes it a whole lot easier to talk about the subject. Yes, you checked my teeth. Thank you. So today I wanted to talk about the panic attacks and eating disorder that I had. And once again, these are after effects of sexual abuse. They started in the 10th grade. And about the first week of school, I was sitting in the lunchroom, and you're beginning to know me a little bit. I'm very, very shy, and sitting in this huge lunchroom with all these people, didn't know most of them, so I was uncomfortable sitting there, probably holding my breath. And from the corner of the room, there started a chant. It was like bang, 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 bang. And it was a chant for happy birthday to somebody. It was very, very loud, came from the corner, started moving towards me, got louder and louder. I was just terrified. And I know I started to blush, and someone looked at me and said, "It's her birthday." And I had the biggest panic attack. I'd never had one before, didn't know what it was. I went running from the lunchroom to the restroom, locked myself in the bathroom stall, and just sat there, trying to figure out what had just happened. It was like this explosion in my body, in my mind, and my heart was racing, and I had no clue what had happened. And I sat there just not sure what to do. All I knew is I didn't ever want to go back to that lunchroom again, because I felt it had something to do with the people, all the people surrounding me, and the noise and food. And so I started to not go to the lunchroom. I would just go and sit in the bathroom and just be by myself and hide. I was good at hiding. And so that's when the eating disorder started, because I wasn't gonna go and take a lunch there with anybody. And so I stopped eating lunch. And at the same time, a girlfriend of mine who was very, very thin, probably 80 pounds, she said to me, "Have you ever been thin?" And I looked at her and I said, "Well, I'm only like 105 pounds. "Oh, wow, that much." Well, it got me thinking, maybe I do need to lose some weight. And so I would skip breakfast and lunch, and maybe just have a couple bites for supper. And people started to say, "You look really good. You've gotten thinner." And it was during the era of Twiggy, super skinny models. And so I continued not eating, and I felt an exhilaration with not putting food in my mouth. There was a high that came with that, and it was, I was controlling something in my life. I couldn't control the depression, the anxiety, the worry, the nightmares. I couldn't control anything in my life, but I could control what I put in my mouth. And I became the gatekeeper for food. the less I ate, the more exhilarated I felt. Sounds crazy, but it was a whole control thing that came on me. And sometimes in the morning I'd get up and I would begin to throw up, but there was nothing to throw up. And so then I'd eat a couple bites of an orange and go to school. And that made the anxiety and the panic attacks worse, because my body didn't have any food. And so my body was just crying out that there's this problem. And so those two things came at the same time. And in counseling, I learned what I was doing and what was happening. And with a panic attack, a person holds their breath. And I definitely was doing that. And so I learned that if I felt a panic attack coming, that I would start doing diaphragmatic breathing. And the way you do that is if you suck in your stomach and then take a nice big deep breath and count 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. And then when you blow out the breath, do the same count. And do that maybe 10, 15 breaths. And I learned to completely control panic attacks by doing that. But it wasn't until I was in my 40s that I learned that. And the panic attacks, they started at school. And then when I went home to eat supper with my parents, I didn't want to sit there either because they were on each side of me. I was uncomfortable. So I would take a TV tray and eat in the living room. And if there was any family doings, I didn't want to go. Avoid. I was a big avoider. People with PTSD, they are good at avoiding things. And I was the best because it was too frightening for me. And so that's kind of how I lived my life from 10th grade all the way to my 40s. I just avoided, just didn't want to eat around people. Plus, in my 20s, I started to get this shaky head. It came just one day out of the blue, and my head started to shake, just kind of a tremor like that. And my right arm started to shake. Now that probably was because I wasn't eating enough, and my husband was coming home from work and I was going to have to sit at the table with him, which made me nervous, and that problem started. And that's still with me today. It's an annoying problem that people all notice. And it's so funny because people will be talking to me and I don't even realize that it's happening. And they'll say, "Do you know that your head is shaking?" And I'm 71 now, and I think to myself, yeah, it's been shaking for 51 years. Yep, I know, but it's very embarrassing. And I hate that. You can hide a lot of things. You can hide depression. You can hide so many things, but you can't hide a shaky head. Everybody can see it. Everybody can notice it, and it makes you feel foolish. But anyway, that's life. So I wanted to talk about those 3 after effects of sexual abuse. And I guess learning the breathing really helped me with the panic attacks. Learning from a counselor that not eating was only complicating my problem even more, and I didn't need to do that. And plus, when I got pregnant, I ate like crazy because I did not want to hurt my baby. And it's just a learning process. You know, I would have a problem, then I would learn what to do about it. And those are the kind of things that I want to pass on to other people, because I wish I would have learned these things when I was in high school or in my 20s instead of so late in life. And I'm 71 now, and I'm still learning. My biggest fear in school was public speaking, because I would get up there and I would blush, and everybody would have to point that out and tell me just how red I got. And every day I would go to school and I would worry that the teacher would say, "Today we're going to do an oral book report." No! I hated that. I was a good student, but I did not want to get up in front of everyone else. And that's a pretty common fear to have. I had it all through junior high and high school. And when it came time to go to college, and all my teachers were saying, "Oh, what college are you going to go to?" And I said, "I'm not going to go to college." "Why?" Well, I never told them why, because I couldn't sit in a classroom for another 4 years with my PTSD and be so afraid. Plus, I knew I'd have to give oral book reports, and that stopped me from going on to college. I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to help people. And I had been a nurse's aide, and I liked that. But instead, I got married and hid in the house. But right now, I'm facing that fear. Talking on YouTube to people was extremely scary for me. And I thought about doing this a couple years ago, but I kept putting it off. And I've written 6 books, and I've turned them into audible books. I've had lots of opportunities to come and speak before people and tell them my story, but I've always been pretty shy to do that. I've done it a couple of times, but it was very, very hard for me. But now I'm facing that fear. I'm doing this. Each video gets a little bit easier, and thank goodness for puppies. And then maybe down the road, if someone asks me to speak, maybe I'll speak. So I'm just practicing right now. But as I do it, I hope that I'm helping someone, and so they don't have to suffer the way I suffered. But if you suffered from childhood sexual abuse like I did, we probably have a lot to talk about. So if you want to get one of my books or audible books, that's great. What you can do, if you don't want to spend the money for the book, you can go onto Amazon and pay like $10, and you can read all my books. And that's a real inexpensive way to find out everything that I learned. They're all memoirs of my life. And so if you want to do that, that's great. But have a great night. And this has been fun. Every time I do it, I'm a little more calm. And Sophia was pretty good. I didn't know if she would sit here. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.